Have you ever found NSFW content of someone you know? And how did you react?
Ex-school teacher here. I've seen 3 or 4 ex-pupils who have either gone on to be models or had of accounts. Funny thing is, it's always the quiet ones.
My buddy's first love and high school sweetheart ended up doing a porno where she got gang banged by like 5 dudes. We both just kinda laughed about it. She was his first heartbreak, but it was a long time ago.
I came across a girl I met at the ATV park doing hot wife content. She's not a hot wife either, and I wondered if her husband knew. A month later, I remembered and checked back, and his face is blurred out, but his tattoos were all visible. He was on video taking someone's wiener out of his wife's mouth and putting it in his. I said, well, I guess he knows El Mao. These days, he does not blur his face, and they do everything on camera with men and women in any hole, giving. Taking anything. It's weird because on Facebook the husband is a redneck driving a big F250 with spiky lug nuts, and they brag about how much money they make, but won't say exactly what they do lol. They go around the country in their camper sucking dick at upside down pineapple campgrounds.
While watching some videos, I recognized a coworker's laugh. Seriously, that's how I recognized her. I spent a few minutes debating whether I was wrong about it or was just a coincidence, and then had to figure it out because it did kind of look like her, but under the porn makeup and all that. But long story short, seeing a couple of tattoos she had that I had seen IRL, I knew it was her. So then I spent a few days really debating whether I should tell her what I'd found, but I eventually chose not to. It explained a lot of her behavior, right down to not wanting to have a picture taken as a new employee so people could put a name to the face of a new coworker. So I left it at that. We were friends at work, nothing too close but not strangers either, but it didn't feel like something that needed to be said. She is a beautiful woman but wasn't particularly attractive to me. I don't really care for lots of tattoos, so it wasn't like I was searching out all her videos or anything either. Several months later, she came out of work really angry and upset, and I was trying to calm her down as we walked to our cars. She told me she didn't want to talk about it, saying, "There are things you just don't know about." And I told her I did, and she doubled down, and then I had to stop her, look her directly, and tell her, "I know." That, for some reason, seemed to diffuse her anger in that moment. We spent a little while talking things over, and she shared her experiences, and I talked about being a photographer in LA and having been around that scene. And at the end of it, she was in a better place, and the secret was out. I did take it as a compliment that she told me I was the first guy that she didn't know right away when they had seen her old videos. She was blown away when I told her I'd seen it months prior. I just tried to play it off saying, maybe there were others, but they also had chosen not to tell her they'd seen them. That did seem to help.
I have the wildest one for this. I found a family friend's daughter on FetLife. She posted a video of her giving some guy head, who turned out to be one of her dad's friends. I recognized his tattoos. I've never said a word to anyone, but every time I see either of them, I think to myself, I know what you did. She was 20, he was 58.
I pretended I didn't see it and never spoke of it.
Before Reddit filtered NSFW content out of all, I happened across a girl that I went to middle and high school with that was posting nuddies on Reddit. I had a mild crush/attraction to her, so it was pretty cool to see her boobs legitimately lol.
Years ago, an old girlfriend's parents got gifted their first PC by the dude's employer/friend. They were country AF, asked me to help set it up for photo albums, so I go check it out, and the dude literally has his boss' old PC. It isn't wiped or anything. This was Windows 2000 or XP, I'm sure. So I do a little HDD surfing because I'm nosy. To be truthful, I don't know this guy, the boss. I know of him barely, but I'm about to know. Him a lot better. Windows default photos or pictures folder is loaded with images, all unnamed. I open random folder. Tons of images, I open one. Yep, of course it is. Naked 55 plus white dude in cowboy boots and hat, flaccid dick. Awkward half-committed pose. Holy shit. I click through Thayer all like that. I check next folder and the next. Dude has nothing but thousands of high-fidelity images of himself, schlong mostly front and center. Always in boots and hat. Sometimes just smiling, usually some gag-inducing pose he looks unsure of. My first thought was that he took all these painstakingly with a digital camera. Then I got to wondering, all this PC was apparently used for was his sex pose. He gives it, unwiped, to his friend and employee. I do the mature, adult thing and get my GF. We logged our asses off until her mom comes in to see why we're cutting up. I show. Her, she knows this man well enough. She goes pale. She's a country church girl who doesn't swear, drink, or yell. Then she busts up laughing harder than I'd ever seen her and runs and gets her husband who comes in and looks genuinely dumbstruck. But he recovers and chases us all out and yanks cord out of the wall. Takes whole thing to his workshop next door, which is certainly a death sentence.
While perusing the internet for various spicy content, found a short video of a friend I used to have a bit of a crush on. She had already passed due to suicide years earlier. Mixed feelings doesn't even begin to cover it.
I found my ex on a GW subreddit. I jerked off. Then I cried.
Worked at a PF Chang's, and someone found out one of the servers did porn and told everyone that worked there, so she ended up leaving. It was pretty fucked up.
At one point, I let my brother and his GF borrow my Kindle Fire to go on the internet and do job hunting. They were both 18. I get it back, open up Tumblr, and see the GF is logged in. Had an innocent name, Sunflower, Sunshine. Something or other, this was like 8 years ago. I click BC, I'm interested in what she's posting, person shrugging, big mistake. The first and only picture, not video, I saw was her sucking off my brother. Immediately closed the app. And deleted it. Edit. Y'all are being mad weird, this isn't a porno, I don't want to see my brother's junk.
I found out through a mutual friend that the girl I was dating had a Fansly account, was married, and was in a poly relationship with multiple friends from other states. Needless to say, we aren't dating anymore.
My girlfriend's friend told me a wild story about being a subbed-in boom mic operator in a My Little Pony porno. We looked it up, she is credited in the end, and you can see the boom mic in the shot.
Well, there was the time that my wife didn't realize that her and her mom's Apple accounts had been synced. So no, I didn't find someone I know's content, but my mother-in-law did let me know that she'd seen too much at a family dinner, and that she'd like a little help making sure she wouldn't be receiving any more unsolicited dick pics from me.
Out of all the stories I've got, my fav is me plugging the camera into the TV on Thanksgiving with all my family watching. 2 brothers, dad, 2 cousins, my aunts and a few friends, and a pic of me holding my meat pointed at the camera pops up. I hit back and all it did was buffer old Sony. I had to rip the cable off while my brothers are hollering and my mother's running in from the kitchen asking what's going. Weary face.
I found my cousin. I wasn't sure if it was her until I saw her husband. I took a break from Pornhub for about a year after that.
When I was about 14, I went to use the family computer. This was like 0405. We had one computer for the whole household. My parents' digital camera was plugged in. The screen immediately loaded with naked pictures of my mom. Like, up close everywhere. I immediately turned it off and never said anything. I also have never been able to fully scrub the image from my brain. Shutters. I found a girl that I went to college with. I confirmed it was her by the birthmark on her hand, very noticeable. I had a huge crush on this girl. Great news, right? But I was faced with a dilemma. The pictures seemed like they were cell phone screenshots. And the thought crossed my mind, what if she doesn't know they're out here? Did I have a moral obligation to mention it, even though there were some pretty saucy implications? I told her I found them. I was looking for pictures of sports, and I just happened to stumble upon this. I don't know how it happened. She said she was really grateful. An ex of hers had posted them online, and she was going through a long legal fight to get them all removed. They popped up now and again for a while, but I haven't seen them for a few years.
This was years ago before internet porn became a thing as it is today. My little bro found a porn magazine of a girl I went to high school. He found it while walking home from school on someone's lawn. It's been over 20 years and I still have it.
Found a friend of mine's nudes from a cam website on a different website. I messaged her because they were likely there without her consent, rolling on the floor laughing. She was embarrassed, but I hopefully didn't make it awkward.
One time, a female cousin of mine asked me for help recovering some proud photos of her recently passed dad from a micro SD card she had in her BlackBerry. She gave me the card. I ran it through RStudio or R5 Studio. Can't really remember the name of the software. And I started getting some files back. Some were corrupted and some were fine. Among the photos were some pictures of my uncle, her dad, pictures of friends, dogs, and a couple of my cousins. Nudes. I took all the uncorrupted photos, except for the nudes. I deleted those and I was planning not to bring it up, and put them in a folder on the same SD card and gave it to her. When she came to my place to pick the card up, I showed her what I had managed to recover. We were scrolling through the pics and a picture of a guy on a beach came up, and that's when it hit her. That guy was not a friend. He was an ex. And as soon as she saw his picture, she was like, "Were there naked pictures of me?" And I very awkwardly answered yes. There were a couple, and she just said, "It's okay. You're my cousin," and we continued scrolling through the rest of the photos as if nothing happened. Lol. We never talked about that specific subject again. The goal for the photo recovery was to get some pictures of her dad. We got those, so she was really happy.
Twice. The first was a girl I graduated with. She wanted to get into modeling and wound up doing a nude shoot and posted the pictures on a modeling site that was popular at the time. I looked enjoyed and moved on with my life. The second was a co-worker. She started working and I couldn't shake the feeling that she looked extremely familiar. I couldn't figure out where I knew her from. We worked together for a few years, and one day I was on our company's subreddit and saw a picture someone had posted and recognized the store as ours. Her username contained her real name and I clicked on it and realized that I followed her. I ran through her post history and found a bunch of older GW posts that I had seen years prior, including several that I saved. A lot of her posts were deleted, but not all, and the comments that she had posted were still up. We were friends at this point, and I wondered if she had meant to delete everything and just missed some. I created a throwaway account and messaged her letting her know that some of her GW posts were still up, and that I wouldn't out her, but that I wanted her to be aware that she nearly doxed herself and asked her to be safe. I told her I wasn't getting back on the throwaway and wouldn't contact her again, and logged out. A few weeks later, out of curiosity, I checked her profile and saw that she deleted the rest of the posts as well as the one that gave away eggs. Exactly where she worked. I hope I didn't freak her out with it, but I also knew how some of our co-workers were and knew that several frequented the company subreddit. As far as I know, no one else saw her old posts, or at least made it known.
Found this girl I knew in high school on Pornhub. She had liked 2 videos in her own account. It was dope mostly because we had been intimate before, so it was like a throwback to HS.